guys, gals, and painting pals. Welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we're going to do a 24 by 24 inch black hole galaxy spacescape, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to show you every single step, and I know you're ready to learn it. I'm ready to teach it, so check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on. Let's do it just like this. Hi there, my friends and painting pals. Today we're going to take something that looks like this, a 24 by 24 inch canvas, and turn it into something that looks like this, a 24 by 24 inch black hole. It's going to be amazing. So I'm going to show you literally every single step right now. To like squat down real low. Hi, painting pals. How you doing? So we're going to take our canvas. We're going to remove all the plastic off of it. And then I'm going to show you possibly the coolest toy you've ever seen. All right, get our canvas, get it up here. Boom. Now, all we're going to need in order to do a black hole scene is, let's see, we need our white and black gesso, of course, right? Take this guy, throw a little bit on the top, boom, boom, boom. Gonna need a roll of tape just for the inside, so it doesn't matter if it's full or not. And then a little 6-inch cake pan and an old fan brush that you don't want to use anymore, right? Maybe an old worn out fan brush. All we're gonna need. Now, have you ever seen one of these? A pro edging tool. I've already done one canvas this afternoon, so it shouldn't be black. That's because we put paint on it already. But very cool. It's like a microfiber cloth on top of a styrofoam handle. And just very quickly and easily will cover up any canvas or any wall. When I was doing those murals, I used this tool to prep the entire wall. No paintbrushes. Just a little scrubby edger. Right? Now, these things are literally fabulous. You can get your whole canvas done in under 1 minute and without even adding any more paint. Because it spreads so far, you can do your sides and your top just like so, guys. So, I suggest you get these. I found them on Amazon. Well, first I found them at Tanisha's studio. That's where I got the idea. And then, this is how she was black gessoing her canvases. And I said, man, I gotta find those. So I went on Amazon and I grabbed them. They're called edging, like pro edgers. So if you look for a pro edger painting tool, that's what we're gonna find. And literally, whoop, wrong way. Literally in under a minute, scrub on all of our paint and you get this nice easy coverage. Now we're gonna let this canvas dry. Only takes about maybe 10 minutes to let this guy dry, and we'll be all set and ready to paint, guys. So we'll see you just like this. Well, it looks like it's all dry and clean, my guys and gals and painting pals. So let's get our white gesso. We're gonna get a little thing like this. I just use a piece of a cardboard or something just as a little palette. And that way we don't need a whole lot of paint, especially when we're doing one of these black hole scenes or a little small planet. You don't need a whole big pile. A couple little piles just like that, right? A little bit, nothing too crazy. Now, we're also going to need a piece of paper torn in half and then crumpled up into a ball, right? Just somewhere where you can grab it. Have a little flat on the bottom. That's what I like to do. Normally I'll put it in my hand like that and then sort of squish it up just so you can hold it. It's almost like one of those old school things where you'd have to do I can't even remember what they are now, but just like that, just so you have all these surfaces and you can have a place to hold it. All right, we're gonna do that on both pieces of paper. Just like this. Boom, boom, boom. Now, one for white and one for black is all we're gonna need. Now, let's take our little planet and let's decide, maybe over here, perfect, right over here, is where we're gonna put our first planet, and then maybe with our tape roll, we could do another guy, who knows, off here, right? Right there and about right there. Doesn't matter where you put it, just leave some room for your black hole. And if my black hole is gonna be right here, roughly, maybe up here, right? We don't want it to be so close, so let's put it out there and out there. All depends on where you're gonna put your black hole, right? So we're gonna get our old little fan brush, grab a little bit of our white paint on it, just like this, right? And then we're gonna come around the side, hold our pan so it doesn't move, and just make a little line around the side of it. Just a little, small little circle. Bang, just like that. Pull your pan away. You only need about half a circle, right? Come off of this guy and start making little downwards. I'm kind of exaggerating, but you can see little downwards circular strokes to make your color fill in. You might need a little bit more. It all depends. Everyone's a little bit different, right? Fill it in. And then, with our little exaggerated strokes like that, it's going to make it look more and more and more round the more that we do it, right? We don't need it to be perfectly white or perfectly straight or whatever. Just have it look like that, right? Even that is totally fine. Same thing, we're going to take our little bit of white, go inside my tape roll on this guy, and if we're imagining the light is right here, we can go on the inside of our tape right here, just about a half a roll, and then again, little exaggerated round little strokes to help fill it in and take it about halfway back. Bang. Nothing too crazy, right? You can go over if you happen to go too far, it's perfectly fine, okay? Now, we might as well, should we get our black hole all set up? Yeah, I never like doing it perfectly flat, okay? Never like it to be perfectly flat. So we're basically going to look at a at a black hole, but we're gonna look at it on an angle, or more like on this angle. In any case, let's start to make our little circle about right there. Bang, just like that. Seriously, make a little oval and then don't go inside your oval. Once your oval is fixed and it's perfect, do not go inside of it. I've done it several times and it's hard to make it blacker again or fix it. Okay, now once we have our oval, this is the fun part. We're going to think about our black hole as having 4 directions, 4 cardinal directions, right? Just like this. And we're just making our oval a little bit wider and a little bit wider each time we go around it. Just perfectly fine. Now, we're going to take our white, little bit on the brush. We don't need a whole lot, okay? We've got 1 point right on the edge, 1 point right here, 1 point on the side, and 1 point on the side, okay? So you got your 4 places that you're going to want to pull off and go around. Now, each one, we're going to have to decide. If we take this guy and he goes out and around this way, this guy goes that way, that guy goes that way, and this guy goes that way, all in a little spinning rotation, right? So, just with a little bit of paint, because I don't want to have so much that I'm going to have to end up covering it all with my oils, right? If you put on too much paint, it's not really going to work, and we want to make it very flat. So as it whips out and around, it makes this very flat thing, right? Same thing here, we're going to go out and around, very flat, leaving a little bit of space in between them. So you got your dark area in between, dark area in between, and we're going to come back, grab our white again, little wiggle, right? Remember, it's going out and around into space. And this guy is going to go out and around that way. So it all depends how you set your guy up, right? A couple little things, little wiggles, little here, little there. And then we just got to make it a bit messy because space is not the most cleanest of things. It's very messy when you think about it. All right, whip this guy out here, all around, just like that. Now we've got our white thing. It's all set and prepped and ready. This guy can extend further around. Just make them in a circle. Remember, everything's out there is moving in this circular pattern. You can even have a guy whipping around the side up the back. Right? All up to us, what we want it to look like. You can connect little areas, but that's more for when we're doing our oils and stuff. All right, this guy, maybe he came around, looked like he was going to swallow up this planet. You never know. You never know what it's going to look like until you do it, right? So, you can always cover over every single bit of whatever you've done with some oil paint, and you'll never see this bit of white again, right? But just as an idea, that's what we want to have it look like. Now, we're going to come back one more time. Turn this so I can get it perfectly white around this side. Just with a bit of pure white around the edge of our thing. That's just to help our oil paints stay white, right? When you put the oil paint on this black canvas, it wants to get darker and darker and darker because it's got that black bottom to it, right? Now, there we go. Really got to work on it. See, now this is when you don't want to do it more than a couple times because you start to mess up your shape of your circle or your oval, and then it's hard to do and come back and fill in, right? So, get your oval the perfect shape you want it to be, and then zip. There we go. Whip that sucker around, and you'll have this black hole off in the night. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, when we go to put our oils on the thing, we're going to cover it all up with our undercolors and do all sorts of stuff, but I'm going to show you every single step, so don't you worry. Don't you dare worry. Get a little bit of our thing as it's coming out. Just sort of using the side of the brush, kind of helping it fill in very lightly. Just little things, right? You could literally do a black hole with just white gesso. You'd be my hero if you did it. You would be my hero. Right? Bang, bang, bang. All around, all up, all over the place. A couple wiggles out that way. And you've got your black hole all set up and ready to go. And it's going to be fantastic, right? So here's the last part. I've already showed everybody this on how to do the moons on my other video, but I figured I'd show you guys again. We're going to take our black, let's move this back over here, and then just start coming at it from the back side first, right? You can even scrub it in if you think you got too much paint on your paper. Just like that, start dabbing. One more little dab. Come over here. We don't need to make our craters go all the way across the moon. Just sort of trying to hide the exterior back here, the anus of the planet way back here, right? A little bit, start from the back, work your way forward. Now this guy that's further away doesn't need to have so many details because he's further away, right? We're not going to see him. Take our other piece of paper, grab up some white, dab it on, and then start working back towards your darkness, okay? So you start out here in the front, start working back towards the black. Doesn't all have to be the most textured thing you've ever done or anything, right? And then you want to have a little half circle of very, very, very light colored bits, right? And that way we can't see everything across our planet. You get these few little things. If you go too far, no worries. You go back with your black and black it all out again, right? We get to decide what it looks like. So don't let anybody tell you it shouldn't look like that or whatever. That's a bad word in the art world. Should. Should is a bad word to paint with Josh. There we go, right on the edge. And again, we don't have to make that guy as detailed. He's much further away, right? Any more little bits that we want to add in here, you can get as close to your edge as possible. If you do go around or outside your edge, say like that. Oh no, what am I going to do with my moon now? Guys, it's not a perfect circle. Take some black on your finger, go around, cover it right up. Just like that. Get rid of that little spot that you done messed up, right? Very simply, very easily. Come back in. Bang. So, even showing you how to mess up and then how to fix it, just like that, guys. Nothing to it. Very simple. Very simple. Couple little dabs on that guy just so he's further away, and you can start to see that all these things would funnel down into our black holes. So just like that, you can work at your moon or your black hole as much as you want, but all you really need is this basic setup to be able to do the scene. So can't wait to see what your guys' looks like, and we're about to get started just about now. Hey guys, we're back. We're in the studio. We've got our canvas. It's nice and prepped and ready. I'm all dressed and ready for the live show. So during that, I'm going to teach you exactly how to paint this scene. I've already showed you how to do the beginning, so let's get rocking and rolling. Let me hit the cameras and we'll do it. Woo! So when he paints that sky, we're going to go into a little bit of our liquid clear, cover our canvas all up. Paint with Josh before you go high. Just like that, and then spread it around. I want to paint that sky. Can't believe I hit that note. It's been a long time since I hit that note. Hey, welcome back everybody watching. Thanks for tuning in over on TikTok. I'm actually filming a tutorial for this painting. It'll be over on my YouTube channel this Wednesday. So, this next upcoming Wednesday, you're gonna learn how to paint a black hole literally step by step. I show you every single thing, literally. I show you how to do each planet. I show you how to do the black hole itself. Every single step. So if you're excited about that, then get ready and go subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free. Of course, I have paid content over on YouTube as well, but the majority of my stuff over there is always free, always ready to learn from. And if you do require more, or you want to support the channel, you can always pay as like a little tip each month, and helps buy more canvases and more supplies and all that stuff. Right now, once our canvas is fully covered with our liquid clear, and we get it across the entire thing, it's all filled in. All of our little places, nice and slick, right? It goes on very sticky, like syrup. And by the time that we've spread it nice and thin, you should be able to feel a difference. If you hit like a sticky area, blend it out in every direction, all over the place, right? So it's nice and slippery across the entire canvas. Now comes the fun part, where we're gonna put all of our colors on, but before we do that, you gotta tell me where you're watching from, what's your favorite sandwich, and it's gonna be a good time. Let me clean off this old brush. Right here, right into there, and then into the old beater bucket. Now, we only go about a 1/4 inch into the thinner, right? You don't want to go your whole brush and dunk it in. It'll get real hard because you won't be able to get all that thinner out. Then we take the lid off of the old bucket, and there's a bag in here with my golf ball basket. It sits down in the bottom. I finally updated it, got a new golf ball basket, and then I have a lid for my bucket as well. So I hold the lid down, like shielding anything from coming up at my face, right? Hold the lid right above the bucket, get my hand in there, and just beat the devil out of it. Comes out nice and clean, and anything that would have sprayed up into my eyeballs is reflected and caught onto the lid. Now, cover the bucket. That way all that smell isn't coming up out of it the entire time that we're painting, right? That would be bad if that were to happen. You'd be breathing in all that thinner. So cover up your bucket. Don't just leave it all open like that, right? Now, we've got to get all of our undercolors all prepped onto our canvas if we're going to paint with just white and have it arise all these gorgeous colors as foretold it was. So we're going to get a little of our Indian yellow first. The Indian yellow, out of all 3 of the yellow in the Bob Ross set, is the most transparent, which means it's going to stay sort of dark. As you put it across the darkness, you can't really tell that it's there, right? We can only really see it when it lights up on our white acrylic that we already pre-set up. All right, so we'll take it out a little bit on each arm, and then we'll switch colors into something a little more dark as we get going around our galaxy. So just make a big circle of yellow around your galaxy, leaving the black hole pretty black if you can. Don't put any color in there if you can, right? By the time that we get down to it, it may shrink, it may grow. Hopefully it stays the same size. That's the goal. All right, now that we've got our Indian yellow, it's all around our black hole in a big sort of oval shape, sort of just like our black hole would be, right? Now we're gonna go into a little different, darker color. We're gonna go into our Meeden Crimson. Now the Meeden Crimson, you can see we're just pulling it on with the smallest little bit. Just getting a little bit on there because that little bit is gonna stretch a long ways. All right, we'll get some of that pink, get a little circle over here, drop some of it out over there. Don't need to cover up every bit of white, and we're not even gonna use this white. It's just there for reference to show you what the scene is gonna look like, right? So a little bit of pink up here around our little circle, and we'll probably have just a little bit of it out around there. Drop it in between. Bingo, bango. We got this another little circle. Now we're going to go out into a deeper, darker color. Let's go into our cerulean blue, which is not a transparent color. So you just literally need like 3 hairs and some air worth of paint on the brush. Literally, that much. And then we're going to go into our ultramarine blue, which is a much darker color, and perhaps a little of our phthalo blue from the Bob Ross set as well, right? So now there's a lot more darkness on there versus that brightness. And we can go around, let's miss our planet, kind of come in from the back with some of that color, right? Get around the edge, real close. If you leave one of your planets real white, it will stand out as being a lot closer, right? So this guy, bingo, right across him, he turns into a little blue planeta, and we're gonna be all set up in this corner. Just a little blue paint, right? We don't need, you can't even really tell that it's there besides the fact that it's changed those white lines into a different color. One more time, like one swipe of the blue, just literally a couple hairs into the darker blue, the cerulean into the darkness. And we'll come back from over here and sort of fill up our rest of our little area out along the edge with our blue color. And you can see, maybe we take a little bit of that blue and push it back into the crimson. We'll have all sorts of different colors as we come flying out into the sky. All right, a little bit of our 2 darkest blues, and we'll put those guys up top. Just making sure that we cover every single part of our canvas with at least one swipe of paint, at least one drag, right? Because then we're gonna know we've got some color on there at least. Maybe put a little blue in between that little bit of crimson-y spot, and it'll light up a different angle. Maybe this little bit of blue back in here, kind of tuck it in, work its way in there. Doesn't all have to be the same colors, right? Except we don't want to get any blue down in here, otherwise it'll go green, which isn't a problem out in space. You can have lots of green stuff out there in space, right? One more little piece. I love adding like a bit of crimson or something like that's real bright and then tracks its way into the blue and kind of crisscrosses it. Or you'll have one little real bright area that you're not expecting it to be crimson. You're thinking it's blue, and then boom, we'll get this purple color. It's gonna be real cool. So, a little bit of color out there on the canvas. Literally, all we need to do, not using up a whole bunch of paint, just a little bit. Then we'll go back and wash those brushes off one more time, guys. The final wash. Right now, we're gonna wash off our last brush and then dab that guy off. Make sure all of our dark color is out of it so we can just use our white to blend it. Right there, put our lid back on, dab off our brush, get it nice and ready to go, and then we'll be all set. So, here's the fun part, guys. Tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? We're gonna grab our white paint, and this is when it gets kind of crazy. Now, normally, when I go to do clouds and stuff, I get a big old fan brush like this, right? Big old monster compared to like the size of my finger, right? He's humongous, okay? So, what I wanna do on these galaxy scenes is go for a much, much, much smaller fan brush, literally the size of your finger size fan brush, right? Much smaller of a little guy. And that way we won't be able to deposit too much paint. Too much paint on this canvas is gonna grow like a weed, right? And not necessarily a nice pretty one with a flower or anything, just a gross, ugly, crabgrassy type of thing, right? So we're gonna come out here, we're gonna take our white, and first things first, we're gonna go around in a little oval, right? Let's be kind of slow in the beginning, and we're gonna lighten it up just a little bit. We're not trying to get our white color inside the black hole. That is the biggest thing you could do is either change the shape or get your color inside that black hole. So, go around, turn our brush, rotate it, right? Right around the edge. About as close as we can get without messing up our shape. Right? And then the outside really doesn't matter. You can start to mess around and mix up just like I did with all these little guys initially. Right? Maybe they come out into this whole little crazy arm. Literally all we have to do. Seriously, wipe off our brush, come back, get a little bit more. Maybe come back in here, jiggle it up, push it around, pop it off over there, pull it off over here, because you never know what it's going to look like until you start to mix it, right? Case in point, we're going to grab a 1-inch brush like this, start to come up, not go inside of our circle for goodness sake, and we're going to leave different areas bright. Not everything has to be all the same amount of color, right? You can mix it up. You can leave dark spots in there. You can then pick up your paint again, mixing it, moving, mixing it, moving. Not every space is going to be exactly the same. Some areas aren't going to have any paint at all. It's going to be so soft as it gets out towards the edge, right? All depends on us, how we mix it up. So we come back in there, mix up a little bit, and see how little amount of paint is actually out there, because we can still see our acrylic initial spot where we came off of our line, right? So remember, this guy comes out and around. It's out and around. We got to remember that in our brains, okay? Then our next guy is going to come off the center of the line, or you can go opposite, catty corner, and go off of this side. Start lighting up all your area out here, right? Whichever way you do it, you got to leave some spaces in between, which is why I prep it in the gesso first, so you can see that you can't get too close, right? Maybe we come out, we start going out this way. Start out into here, get all that pink color. We want to leave a little dark area in between each guy, and you know how much they grow, so don't put too much paint up there, right? A little bit more of our white. See if we can sneak in our other arms coming off the side, right? So we basically kind of start around, then you'd have it up here, right off the side, starts growing into this most immense thing. Just out into the blues, popping off over to the side. Doesn't matter, right? We get to choose what it looks like. All up to us. And then when we go back and blend it out, that's when you really start seeing all that color. Now wipe off our brush again, just on a paper towel. Just wiping it off, scrubbing it off real good so you get that white paint back on here. And maybe this guy had a whole nother little second arm that was coming out and flying around. right? We get to pick, guys, what it looks like. No one gets to come in and tell us what our scene is supposed to be or what it's supposed to look like, this, that, or the other. We get to choose, right? Wipe off our brush, otherwise it's going to get tainted with color. I'm going to come over here, light up this whole section. Boom! Right and around, a little bit more paint onto our brush is going to cover up that acrylic, and it's going to help our oils kind of blend out a little bit longer, right? The more paint that we have up here and the less pressure we have, we're going to have nice bright colors, or we can push out and push out and push out and get them to get darker and darker as they mix in with all the other undercolors that are out there in our spatial scene. Just real light out along the edge, right? Letting it rip that stuff in and really falling into the centerpiece of our galaxy. Just into the center of the galaxy. Right? Coming off the edge. All these little crazy bits that are getting sucked down in there. The more little white areas that you go and add, and then don't go back and cover them or blend them up as well, the more cool little pieces are going to start to show, the more little details you'll get, right? This gas and dust that sits out there is sat on top of itself, like we can see through it into different things, right? So don't get too crazy and blend it all out into the same bit. No one's going to like that, right? Now, we might as well just cover up our last little section of paint, at least start it out here, right? Whipping it out and around, coming off of our side as it lights up the side and out and around, right? We don't want to keep going out to the center. We have to remember that this guy is getting sucked in. It's really a flat cloud, especially by the time that we get out here, which is why I left this area real flat-like, because you have to imagine it spinning on this angle like the palette is sitting, right? It's not flat. We're not staring straight at it. And it's not so thin that we can't see it. It's just tipped up a little bit, just on a little angle. So everything's got to feed down into that guy. All right, a little bit more paint onto our brush. Anytime you want to have it grow or be a bit brighter, toss a bit more paint on there. Right? And this guy come out here. He's going to eventually suck up that whole planet. So out into here, little mixes, little things, little different areas where it's going to be able to mix together. And maybe along the backside is where we took all of our cloud from, as it's getting sucked down into the thing, right? Now, keeping your brush clean is a very important part. So either having a couple brushes or at least dabbing it off enough and working in the right order, right? Maybe I want to work here because it's nice and yellow, and then into that yellow spot and out into that yellow spot. And as I get into the deeper, darker colors, if you go back to your center, it starts to dull it down, right? So let's come out here with a very light hand, such a soft little bit. We're not trying to let these two clouds touch. So you gotta have something in there, right, that's pulling it in different directions. Get a little flatter, a little softer, little counterclockwise circles. You only gotta paint about 2 billion of them. And that way, you make 2 billion little counterclockwise circles. It's gonna start to look really cool. But they all have to be at different, amounts of pressure, really. The more pressure that you put onto it, the harder and harder, and the more it's going to grow and grow and grow and get further and further and further away. And didn't I just say not to go out into the blue? Do as I say, guys, not as I do, all right? I should put that on a shirt. Didn't I say don't go out into the blue? Do as I say, not as I do. I'm an idiot. All right, let's come back in here. And where it's real dark and real bright right along the edge, I like to kind of mist that area up just so lightly with the same brush and no paint on it. Just kind of fogs it up a little bit so it's not a perfect thing. All right, now back into the yellow. We dab our brush off so we can ensure it's nice and clean. And now we're going to start taking these guys and pulling them down this way, but not allowing them so far that they're going to touch this guy. All right, so we start bringing it down, bringing it around, pulling these guys out. Maybe we push it out a little bit this way, right? A little up towards our next little cloud, but not too much. Right? The more that we mix it, the more we allow our brush to drag up there, the further and further it's going to go up into a deeper and darker color. So we got to be careful the more we do, right? Now, as we mix it, we can let this area get color in it, but don't have it be so super bright. That's the only thing. Okay? Final guy. Now, I don't want to hold my brush like this over my black hole because it will drag stuff and get in there. So let's go up and above. Let's turn our hands and rotate and come up here and start pushing it up towards the cloud, but also wrapping it around, pushing it out this way, and then bringing it down because we've come out. We're starting to come around towards us, right? Now, all these little things out here, once you get out there and start mixing them up, you don't want to make them all the same. You know what I mean? If they're all the same, then it's not going to have any depth. You got to have those deep, dark areas back in here. Look at that little touch of blue that we snuck in there. Those are the cool bits where you're going over it so lightly and so gently that we're not really dragging over too much color. And you're going to get the coolest little, softest little things. Now watch, let's drag this guy up a little bit more pressure and connect him into that cloud. All of a sudden, just added a bit of depth to that little spot. Right, mixing it out, pulling it down. How far do you want to go? Sometimes I'll leave a space and jump over, or we'll jump over here. Let it mix out real soft, come back in. Real light touches, guys, real light, because we're not trying to put too much color down there. That's the key, right? We're trying to touch it so softly that we barely even wisp right over the paint, just a little bit. Remember, got to leave a darkness around our planet. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can just leave a small little line back in there, it'll make it look like the planet's popping itself out of our cloud, which is really cool, right? Come back, mix up a few little things, leave that real dark spot down around the bottom. Maybe we can have something, you know, we can imagine anyway, something that's popping out of there. All different things. Maybe it's the Kessel Run, and we can have the Millennium Falcon out here, just, right? As it grows out, starts to engulf our planet. I'm not going to go around this side because we got to remember our second arm is going to be the one that wraps around the back, right? So, look at the colors we've achieved, guys, just with this little thing. And that's just with white, right? You can always go back in and highlight it with other colors, with pink, with yellow, with blue, and all sorts of things, right? Just the neatest little galaxy you ever did seen, guys. And remember, this one is available for sale. If you want to grab it, you got to go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com and nab it up for yourself before anybody else gets a chance. Don't let them have the chance at it, right? Trying to let these colors get real close, but not allowing them to touch, leaving that little darkness in there. And the more and more and more you go over it, the deeper and darker it gets, right? Now, let's get some more color out here from our fan brush. Grab a little bit of white, just a little bit on a little fan brush. This is a 24 by 24 inch canvas. So if you have anything smaller than that, you better be using a smaller brush than this. Otherwise, it's going to get too crazy big and too crazy bright. Right? Now, we'll come out here, grab up a little bit of that color. Maybe he was out to the side. Maybe he picked up and around, trying to keep it disconnected, which is why we have our lines out there, right? Already kind of show us what it should look like as it wraps its way around. A couple little arms can pop off any which way we want them to. Maybe out there, maybe up and around, maybe off to the side, maybe out to the back. Maybe up here and it'll connect in with that guy, but we don't want them all to connect, right? That's our goal. Don't have it all connect, and don't put so much paint out there that you're not going to leave any room for it to grow. That's part of the deal. You got to leave room for it to grow. Again, just dabbing the brush on a paper towel, not going into my thinner, just dabbing it on a paper towel until there is no more left. All right, now we're going to come up here. Let's go back into this little bit of lighter color and just work it out. A little touch, little thing. You can see how we're not pushing on it so hard that it moves the entire bit of color and everything, right? That's not what we want. We don't want it to get that colorful. We got to have those dark spaces. Now, instead of going up, I'm going to bring this little guy kind of up and a little bit down, and a little up and a little down. Try to save some dark areas in his own cloud, and then we can start to mix it and mix it and mix it. And the more it mixes out, hello, what was that noise? The more it mixes out, the darker it's going to get. And it looks like I'm going to be putting 4 space birds in this painting, you guys. Because Go With The Flow has bought it. Thank you so much for your purchase. I absolutely love you. And I love your story. I love everything about her. She's fantastic. Fantastic little human out there. Okay, now, where were we? Where were we? We're over here. Aha. We're going to take these colors and we're going to mix them up. But we're not going to let them blend all the way together. And we're going to keep them separate, right? You have to decide what's going to be your hard side and then all of a sudden switch. That's the fun part about it, right? You have this hard line where maybe we're dragging it back into the hole, and then out here, maybe you switch and you bring that darkness out or push on it a little bit harder and pull that color out a bit more as it's dragging around the galactic center, right? Man, that's cool looking. That is cool. Again, dabbing the brush on a paper towel, just like that, to where there's not any paint left on it. Okay, we'll come up here, we'll drag away. But this side, let's drag in. But you gotta remember, leave that little dark space, right? So maybe we drag it in, we take our brush away right as it gets to the edge. And then on the back of this guy, we make a little bit of cloud out towards our little planet. Pulling off the other side, maybe a little bit out this way, out that way. You never have to just do it a certain way, right? Now, that's a pretty cool looking painting, my painting pals, my guys and gals and painting pals. That's a pretty neat little guy right here. But we need some brighter areas and little spaces of real deep darkness, right? So we'll take this guy, bang, now all of a sudden we've got a little black hole up there. Maybe grab him, wiggle him across, boom, all of a sudden. Remember, it's not just a flat thing. There's gas and dust all over, floating every which way in every part of the galaxy out there. Wiggling it down, pulling it away, mixing it up. Now all of a sudden it looks like that whole side's turned into its own cloud over here, right? It's wanting to grow and grow and grow, so don't let it. Remember to leave those dark spaces in there. There's only 4 dark spaces that you have to leave. 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Around the whole sucker. So, as we get up here, we're going to want to mix much lighter of a touch. Much lighter, much lighter, much lighter. Now, it's not going to look like a black hole or a gap, a bit of depth, unless you can drag a little bit of color. So let's say we take this guy with such light touch. I'm talking about the smallest bit, and we start dragging him in and dragging him in and dragging him in and dragging him in towards the thing, but not all the way, right? Because you want to have that bit of depth in there where it looks like you can fly around and get inside. Now we're going to sort of brighten up his exterior and drag that color away towards our little planet, and then away and out here, and we'll have that bright spot. Almost looks like a shark's mouth. Especially if we can get this guy to go just like that. Boom! Shark Tooth Galaxy. All right, we get to decide, guys, what it looks like out there. Any other places of deep darkness that you want to highlight, you come in with a bit of our white. Just make a little jagged shape out here. Right? This guy already looks like it's fading away into there. So if we can brighten up this whole section, then it's going to look like you'll be able to fly into that section of the galaxy if you had a spacecraft strong enough. Right? We'll whip it out here. Not going to allow it to get too close to the planet anyway. And all of a sudden, now it looks like a wormhole that you could just shoot up and go take the fast track inside, baby, just like that. The more we mix it, the cooler and cooler little colors start to come through and happen, right? Maybe, just maybe, you'll have it look as cool as this. And it doesn't have to look just like this one, right? That's what we always say. It never has to be whatever Paint with Josh did on his show. It doesn't have to look like my painting at all. I just saw one by a guy named Artep, I think his name is, over on Facebook, and I instantly recognized the sky and the clouds right off the bat. And his had 2 crashing waves instead of 1. I was like, dude, great job with the tutorial. You did amazing. And I instantly recognized it. Now, I don't know if that's because I paint too much or whatever, but instantly I could tell that it was one of my paintings that he had done, right? A little bit of our blue, a little bit of our white, back in there for our last little piece. It's kind of connecting all, this is our biggest arm all the way around our galaxy. It comes out, starts to blend down. We don't want to make it so perfectly bright. Doesn't have to be so perfectly dark either, or so sharp. You can have it mist up a little bit. It doesn't look like that planet's about to just come out of the clouds, especially if we bring them up just a little more. That little dark circle around the back. That's how you make them depthful, guys. Okay, one more little bit off of this front section, just one more little piece of brightness, and we're going to have a really neat looking painting, okay? But down here, maybe let's go into a little of our yellow. We'll pop off of this guy and see if we can't turn him into green. As it's going out into the galaxy. Just like that, right? We'll come in, we'll grab it up, and we'll start to intermix it and not work in an area so much that it all turns exactly the same. Maybe take this guy and work him up into our top cloud. Take our top cloud and work it down. Look at that yellow, how it stands out. Starts turning greener and greener and greener as it mixes in with all this blue. And again, we don't even need to go all the way to the bottom, right? Little bits, little softness, little touches in between can add that bit of depth, especially if you just have a little bit of paint on your brush in that different color, allowing that darkness behind it. Whip it up and around and through. Guys, gals, and painting pals. This one is one of my all-time faves for sure. I love all the color in here. It's just fantastic. It's immensely gorgeous. And now comes the hard part of really brightening up our black hole, right? Got to keep the black hole black, but you want the excess around the black hole to be nice and bright. It's usually bright white is its normal color, right? So we're going to come in here with our bright white, and we're going to have to do it several times because it's going to instantly start to mix in with our yellow and all of that stuff. Right? Whip it around, whip it around. This is when your black hole can get a little smaller if you mess it up. I suggest not messing it up if you can. If you can do it, don't mess it up, right? We're going to start making a big... There we go. Bang! Big bit of brightness right around the center of that guy. That was very dangerous. Very dangerous, but we were able to do it, right? And then super bright white right in the center where they're supposed to be coming off and turning into their bits of color. Need to be real bright right here. They're just like the cardinal points of a compass, right? Brightening it up, letting it extend out. Wraps itself around and starts to blend in, and we'll hit this last guy with our brush. A nice clean dry brush. For sure a clean and dry one. Right? And then it'll be real bright around our edges, which will signify all that bright air, the stars and all that matter are just falling directly into the center of our galaxy. Gotta be crazy and careful with your lines, and like I said, try not to adjust your black hole like me. Try to just get it on your first go and then don't touch it anymore, because the more that you mess with it, the more you're not gonna like it. There we go. And then we're gonna go spray in some stars and stuff as well, but just like that, got a nice clean dry brush and mix these guys out just very softly. So they're gonna just mix in with that sort of yellow that's right here in the center. Not gonna go too far out with any of them. And just like that, these wicked cool little bright bits right out there in the night. All right, so soft. Now, I've done it before where I've tried to pull the color into the black hole, and it looks more like a cone versus when you really look at a black hole, it's just instantly black around the side, right? So we get to choose what we want it to look like. Maybe let's get up here, use our maul stick. This is one little spot right here. Oh, it's got to be a little flat oval, right? So, longer on the sides, shorter on the edges, and round, just like that, folks. That's fantastic. Okay. Little bit, maybe we can add just a few little drags of like pure white, just kind of sort of heading out towards those little pieces, towards our arms, just to help it feel like it's sucking everything down into the depths. Now, you guys are gonna have to start coming up with a name for this one, because Go With The Flow purchased it. She needs your help naming it, of course. So, let's get a bit of this guy. There we go, a little further out. Just like that, like that, like that. Drag him up a little more, a little more, a little more around our planet. Oh, yes! Woo! I think it needs one more little arm coming off of this dude, too. Just one little guy. Flying off the side, coming back in with our brush, just mixing it up so soft. Dragging that color up there. Doesn't all have to be the same. Remember, you can have bright areas. Doesn't all have to be the same. It doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line either. But just like that, with just a little touch, a little mix, the galaxy is starting to pull everything down together, guys. That looks really cool. That looks really cool. What if we got a bit of our cerulean blue with our white and came up, just had one more little cloudy action piece back in here. It's hard to stop me from when I get started with all these colors and they start looking so cool. right? And then they blend and all that stuff. And it's all about using the right colors together too. You're not trying to have it be colors that are gonna hurt themselves. All this neat action out there. That's fantastic. I'm gonna put their family right here. I'm gonna put, I think his name's Matt, or Matthew, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna put him up in the top. So, keep that guy nice and dark so he'll stand out as a space bird. It'll be really cool. Really cool. All right, we gotta throw in some stars. So we're gonna mix up a few colors of our 3 favorite, really, to make up Paint with Josh Black. Plaque. Do you know what Paint with Josh Plaque is? What 3 colors that we mix in order to create Paint with Josh Plaque right here on the canvas, right? And then once we get those 3 colors, we're gonna come out and start dropping in that whole chunky mess. Boom! Just a bit, right? That darkness, and then we're gonna hit it with some brightness around. It'll be dark, which will make it stand out, guys. That's gonna be fun, right? Maybe we're gonna come out here, smack in a whole nother little baby chunk out here. Boom, little guy. Doesn't have to be humongous. Doesn't have to be so big. Maybe off of this arm, we got a little bit just floating, coming in off of each arm though, right? So we got 1 and 2 off of this guy, 1 off of that guy. Let's have a little, small little guy. We'll use the side of our knife up here, right? Bang, just the top side. Just a little mess, a little thing as it's dripping and going down and down and down. Maybe coming off of this arm, we'll have 1 real flat little guy out there. And then as we get bigger and better, have another bigger guy up here, right? So they're all getting, see how already it helps feed it in just by looking at it and seeing those colors. Maybe we'll put 1 guy right up here in that bright area, just a chunk. It doesn't have to be a straight up thing. Just a bit, a mush of color, right? And now in this arm, as it's dragging in and they get very far away, why don't we do 1 that's like this, just a little dot, and then over here you just need the smallest few, right? And they can literally be like a little dab because they're so small and so far away. But you got to show them getting sped down and chewed up by the black hole inside. Maybe 1 more guy right over there. Boom, right? Not too many, doesn't take away from the whole scene, but that's what you need in order to do that. Now, my next favorite part is the spraying of the stars, which you need to do before you highlight your asteroids, right? So, stay away from the black hole. As we come out here, the farther away we are, the more sparse we're gonna be. Now, how am I getting the paint to fly off the brush? As I drag the bristles through the brush, right, it bends them back and then shoots the paint off. That's why we lay it out here on the corner. And then we come out and we throw on little things. The further away you are, the more sparse they will be. The bigger pile of paint that you flick through, the bigger your stars will be. So spread it out nice and thin on the edge of our palette like that, and that way it'll come off nice and thinly when you go to do it, right? Out there, out here, and this is why we spray before we put on our highlights, because then even if you got a bit of stars onto your asteroid, you just cover it over, right? Just gorgeous. Look at all these fantastic little clusters of stars and bits that you would have to just spend 30 years trying to paint all these little things out here if you tried, right? And the more that you brighten it up, maybe there's a whole star galaxy, just a cluster that's happening inside. See how when you spray over a dark area, it makes it just more depth filled. You get all those little bits. Are they inside? Are they out along the edge? Are they on the interior wall of that cloud? What's happening in there, guys? Right? We don't want to overfill it with too many stars. And when we come around here, around the edge, we just want to toss a couple. Now remember, you're going to have stuff coming in from all over the place. So it's okay to have a few little star bits in your black hole, but don't overdo them, right? You overdo them and you're not going to like it. Having too much light in the black hole is not a good thing, okay? Now we're going to go back. We're going to grab our brush, or our knife, excuse me. Pull it down here. Just pull out our white, right? Just pure old white. Now, let's say we'll grab a bit of that white and mix up a bit of this Indian yellow. Right? Just a little bit. Don't need to have too much. And let's decide. Maybe that Indian yellow is really going to stand out bright if we put him back here on this little asteroidal body as it's flying out, right? And you can tell we're leaving the whole bottom side dark because you gotta have the shadows down in there. Can't all be the same, so we tap it at the top, and then the more that you tap it with that plaque, the more it mixes itself, honestly. It really does it for us, right? A little bit more white. Let's go crimson now. We'll go white with our crimson-y color. Make this pinky color. Woo-hoo-hoo. Now, maybe out in the blue, way out here. Do I have any more? Just out here, we'll go a little pinky. Right now, imagining all of the light out there in space is coming from that black hole. We'd have to touch along the bottom and leave the back dark, right? And if you end up ever getting too much, you go back in with a little bit of darkness, and you can tap in that dark along the back side of your asteroid, right? Nothing has to be perfect all the time. You're never gonna see every single thing out there. So don't worry about it, right? Now let's come in here, maybe into one of these guys. Let's go for our cerulean blue. That little cerulean color is nice. Maybe I need a bit more of it. Jeez, still pretty white. There we go. It's a super bright, like tealy color. Maybe out on this guy, we're just gonna tap in just a little bit. Not every bit has to be the same amount. Remember, this guy, since he's light up on the bottom, right, we'll have that bit of blue with that bit of darkness back in the back. These little smaller guys, don't try to highlight them, seriously. It's no fun. This guy may be just a tap, one little teeny touch, because they're getting too far away to be able to see any real details, right? We'll go for our last guy out here. And, hey babe, how was the dance? I guess it wasn't that good. So, we'll go way out here with our sap green. Hey, Mama, what's going on?
Hello.
Why is Bailey in a pissy mood?
I don't know, she was great until we got hit.
Oh, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So, London's here, everybody. I'm filming a tutorial for YouTube, too. Make sure your hand gets on the YouTube page. Okay, cool. But yeah, just like that, guys, we got, what, one more to do? What color should we do this one, London? No, we got two more. Little guy and a bigger guy.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, we've got pink and blue.
I wasn't ready to answer questions.
Orange and green. Should we do a teal one? We'll do a tealy color. We'll do that phthalo green with the white, just the smallest bit, because we only need it to just tap on, right? And leave a little bit of light color out on our asteroidal butts, right out there. And then the last one, I like that blue, and this one's real bright, so we'll do it right here in the blue. Couple little pieces. What do you think, London?
It's beautiful.
Fantastic. What does Go With The Flow want to name it? That's the question. And that is the real question. You guys are going to have to help the buyer come up with a title for the painting, and that way she won't have to think as hard, and I won't have to think at all trying to come up with it. All right, we're going to put her family right out here. Well, our family, but you know what I mean. Flying out of that gap, out of that tunnel. And then Matt is going to be right up here, watching over them in the sky. Guys, that looks really cool. Really cool. So, the camera's facing around at me. All right, well, yeah, let me finish the tutorial and then do the outro bit. And then we'll pick a name and we'll do all the spinny winny wheel and stuff. Like that, over there, and there. Well, guys, this one turned out absolutely stellar. I can't wait to see your version of it. Please send it into facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And bye-bye. All right, now I have to do the intro, and that's where more of the stuff comes in. Who's he talking to? Shut up, Evil Jay. Somebody boot that guy. No, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go, guys. Here's for the intro. And then I got to do the snappy bit. Actually, I don't think I need to do the snap bit, but I'll do it anyway. All right, here we go. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a 24 by 24 inch, literally every single step tutorial right here on YouTube. Why am I telling them that? They're obviously watching on YouTube. All right, here we go. Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. You asked and ye shall receive a step-by-step tutorial on how to do a black hole with the planets included. So I know you're excited to paint this one. I'm excited. Fuck, that was perfect. That was literally perfect. Literally perfect. And here we go again. More blooper action. Man, that's neat. All right. Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Hi guys, welcome. Stop looking at me. You. Stop looking at me as I do these takes, okay? Shh. I need silence among the peanut gallery. Here we go. Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a 24... One more time! Paint on my face? No, I'm good. All right, here we go. Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Ye asked and ye shall receive a 24 by 24 inch black hole moon painting with all the planets and everything. Okay. Last time. Hi guys, welcome back. One more time after this. Hi guys, gals, and painting pals. Welcome back to Paint with Josh. You asked for a 20... No, you didn't. I'm just pretending like you did. Just go with the lie, Josh. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Okay. Here we go. Hi guys, gals, and painting pals. Welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we're going to do a 24 by 24 inch galaxy black hole. Donk. My goodness. All right. Maybe we should think about what we want to say prior. Now let's just let it rip. All right, one more time. Hi, guys. Well, guys, this one turned out fantastic. I can't wait to see your version of it. Please send it into facebook.com/paint. Blooper number 1. All right, here we go. One more time.